companies reacting? What are they doing about it?
Well, McDonald's is doubling down on value, launching everyday affordable price menus, entry-level bundles internationally, pushing their McValue platform in the US. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, meeting people where they are financially.
And Nestle, their strategy is all about raising our game on cost savings, productivity. Why? So they can afford to invest in their brands, fix underperformers, launch new things, even in this tough environment. They're banking on the resilience of food and beverages.
This theme really hits home, I think. That pressure you might be feeling in your own budget from inflation or just uncertainty. These huge companies are seeing it in their sales figures, and they are actively designing products, pricing, everything around your cautious wallet.
Your sentiment is directly impacting their bottom line and their strategy. And that cautious consumer behavior, mixed with the wider global instability, it leads us right into our third big theme. This one's clearly hitting supply chains and costs hard.
Right. Let's talk about theme 3, geopolitical friction and supply chain resilience.
Yeah, this really shows that all the talk about tariffs, export controls, shifting trade policies, it's not just political chatter. It has real bottom line financial impacts.
Tangible impacts, and it's forcing companies to make concrete changes, invest serious money in adapting their supply chains.
Absolutely. They're putting numbers on it now. J&J, for example, estimated a $400 million hit from tariffs, just in Q1, mostly medtech tariffs, especially China tariffs on U.S. goods.
400 million, wow. And can they just raise prices to cover that?
Not easily. They said price increases are very limited. Contracts, regulations, especially in healthcare, make it tough. So they're focused on supply chain tweaks, cost cutting.
And ABBV, the other big pharma company, they're watching this too.
Oh yeah, monitoring speculation about new tariffs.
Yeah.
They think any direct hit would be kind of in line with peers because they make a lot in the US already. They're actually planning to invest over $10 billion domestically in the next decade.
So investing locally partly as a hedge.
Seems like part of it. Plus building inventory, finding alternate suppliers, cutting costs. Again, because price pass-through is hard for them too.
Abbott Labs also put a number on it, right? A few $100 million for the year.
Yeah, starting Q3, mostly US-China impact. They're doing short-term things like inventory adjustments, but the long-term plan is optimizing their whole global manufacturing network. That means significant capital investment.
And they made a point about tariffs being sticky, didn't they?
They did. A key lesson learned, they said. Once tariffs are on, they tend to stay. So you need sustainable, long-term fixes, not just wishful thinking.
It's not just healthcare feeling this. PPG, paints and coatings, they're getting hit too.
Yep, U.S. tariffs on stuff from China, raw materials, packaging, finished goods, plus retaliatory tariffs from Canada on their U.S. exports. So they're scrambling for sourcing flexibility, productivity gains, and maybe some targeted price increases where they absolutely have to.
What about Amazon? They must be navigating a complex web here.
For sure. They find it hard to predict outcomes, so they're sticking to their core. Broad selection, low prices, fast delivery, help the customer navigate. They did note their millions of sellers might react differently to tariffs.
And crucially, they mentioned diversifying their own production.
Yes, over the last 6 years, actively moving component production for AWS and their devices away from such a high concentration in China. That's proactive risk management right there.
Samsung saw effects too. Some preemptive buying.
Yeah, after a pause on some tariffs. But they have to keep watching policy changes. It adds to demand volatility. And they directly linked a drop in their HBM sales, those critical AI memory chips, quarter over quarter, to export control impacts on AI chips.
That's a direct hit on the AI boom from geopolitics.
Exactly. And NVIDIA, the AI leader, same story. They're forecasting meaningfully down data center revenue from China next quarter. They even wrote down $4.5 billion in inventory and purchase commitments for their China-specific chip.
$4.5 billion, because they expect not to fulfill those orders.
Right, citing a potentially huge lost market opportunity in China, maybe near $50 billion, because they don't have the right product for that market under current rules. Even Salesforce, a software company, lists trade policy uncertainty, tariffs, retaliation as a key risk.
So for you listening, these geopolitical games, they aren't abstract. They can hit the cost, the availability of stuff you buy, electronics, consumer goods, even medicines. Companies are spending big to build more flexible, spread out supply networks to try and keep things moving.
That need to adapt, it also means many big established companies are fundamentally changing what they sell and how they plan to grow. Which brings us neatly to our fourth theme.
Okay, let's hear.
Theme 4. Reinventing for growth. Shifting portfolios in established industries.
So this is about companies facing maybe declines in their older legacy businesses.
Exactly. Patents expiring, markets changing, consumer tastes shifting away, whatever the reason. They're actively fighting that decline by pumping resources into newer high growth areas, strategically reshaping their whole business.
It's about staying relevant, finding new growth engines.
Precisely. It's really visible in industries like pharma or consumer goods, where product life cycles are key. They're shouting about their pipelines, their new launches to offset the old stuff fading.
ABBV is like the textbook case from these reports, isn't it? Humira, their huge drug, went off patent loss of exclusivity or LOE. Sales crashed, down over 50% in Q1.
50%. That's a massive hit for anyone. But, and this is the key point, their overall immunology portfolio still grew strongly, over 16%.
How'd they manage that?
Because their newer drugs, Skyrizi and Rinvoq, saw absolutely huge growth. Skyrizi up over 70%, Rinvoq over 57%. They're successfully shifting the market to these newer protected products. Plus, neuroscience and oncology grew well too. Diversification works.